Human beings spent millions of years evolving complex vocal cords just to use them to stare awkwardly at their shoes while mumbling about the local weather forecast during a first date. If you find yourself consistently sabotaging your own social existence, you should probably subscribe to this channel right now so we can dissect your terminal awkwardness together. We possess the most sophisticated communication apparatus on the planet, yet the average social interaction still carries the tense, sweat-inducing dread of a hostage negotiation. The great irony of modern human connection is that we desperately crave intimacy while actively transmitting physical signals that scream for immediate isolation. You cross your arms, tilt your neck downward, and hope the floorboards swallow you whole, entirely unaware that your body has already surrendered your deepest insecurities to anyone with basic eyesight. Most people believe that charisma is an elusive, genetic lottery prize, leaving the rest of us doomed to stammer through painful elevator rides and awkward networking events. This is a comforting lie we tell ourselves to excuse our lack of social effort. The truth is much more mechanical, predictable, and deeply rooted in our evolutionary biology. By understanding the hidden architecture of nonverbal cues, you can bypass the conscious mind of your conversational partner entirely. You do not need a glittering personality or an endless supply of fascinating anecdotes to dominate a room. You simply need to stop sending the physical signals of a cornered prey animal. There is a specific, highly counterintuitive sequence of physical adjustments that can instantly transform you from a social ghost into the most compelling person in the room. But to understand why it works, we must first examine the silent, microscopic betrayals your body commits every single second you are in public. This invisible leak of social capital is costing you promotions, friendships, and romantic prospects. And it all begins with the ancient survival mechanisms hardwired into your nervous system. Our ancestors did not survive the African savanna by being relaxed, open, and agreeable. They survived by assuming every rustle in the bushes was a hungry predator. This evolutionary paranoia is why your body naturally defaults to defensive postures whenever you feel even slightly uncomfortable. When you walk into a room of strangers, your amygdala registers the social uncertainty as a physical threat, triggering a subtle, systematic shutdown of your open surfaces. Your shoulders hunch forward to protect your vital organs, your chin drops to shield your jugular vein, and your hands seek shelter in your pockets or wrap tightly around a lukewarm beverage. You believe you are just standing comfortably, but to the subconscious minds of everyone around you, you are broadcasting a loud signal of low status, fear, and hostility. This is the biological reality of the closed loop. The moment you close off your torso, you signal to the room that you are either untrustworthy or terrified. Conversely, true social dominance and warmth require a deliberate, conscious override of these primal survival instincts. To project effortless confidence, you must expose your vulnerabilities. This means keeping your hands visible, your chest open, and your neck relaxed. The psychological feedback loop of this physical adjustment is remarkably powerful. When you force your body into an open posture, your brain actually reduces the production of cortisol and increases testosterone, biochemically forcing you to feel more relaxed and powerful. This is not empty self-help mysticism. It is basic endocrinology. By consciously manipulating your physical state, you alter your chemical state, which in turn alters how others perceive your intelligence and status. However, simply standing like a conquering hero is only the baseline. To truly master the room, you must learn to read the microscopic physical feedback loop of others, starting with a highly misunderstood biological signal that most people completely ignore during active conversation. The human face is a highly sophisticated lying machine, trained by centuries of polite societal conditioning to smile at terrible jokes and nod at boring stories. If you want to know what someone is actually thinking, you must look as far away from the face as possible, down to their feet. Our feet are the most honest parts of our bodies because they are controlled by our deepest survival-driven limbic responses. Long before we learned to lie with our mouths, our feet had to react instantly to danger by preparing to run or fight. When you are speaking to someone, pay close attention to the angle of their toes. If their torso is facing you, but their feet are pointed toward the nearest exit, their brain has already left the conversation, and their body is merely waiting for the polite opportunity to follow. This is a critical metric for saving your own social energy. If you detect this foot angle, stop talking immediately and change the subject or gracefully exit the interaction. Trying to convince someone who is already physically checked out is a complete waste of your valuable social capital. Another highly reliable subconscious indicator of genuine engagement is the pupillary response. When we are genuinely interested in a topic or a person, our pupils naturally dilate to let in more visual information. This is an involuntary physiological response that cannot be faked, making it the ultimate lie detector for social connection. If you want to build deep, instant rapport, you must also master the subtle art of physical mirroring. Mirroring is not about mimicry. Copying someone's exact movements immediately makes you look like a creepy, malfunctioning robot. Instead, you must subtly adopt their general posture, pacing, and energy levels over a span of several minutes. This creates a powerful subconscious illusion of safety and alignment, signaling to their brain that you are part of their tribe. Now that you can read the physical room, you face the second, more terrifying obstacle, actually speaking without running out of things to say. This is where most people freeze, desperately digging through their mental archives for a witty remark, only to settle on another agonizing comment about the weather. The secret to never running out of conversation is to realize that you do not need to generate new content. You simply need to mine the gold that the other person is already handing you. This technique is called conversational threading. When a person speaks, they do not just deliver dry facts, they drop emotional hooks and contextual clues. For example, if someone says, "I had to wake up early today to take my dog to the vet before driving all the way to the city for a boring conference," they have just handed you 4 distinct threads: their morning routine, their pet, their commute, and the conference itself. An amateur conversationalist will latch onto the most boring linear thread, asking something generic like, "Where was the conference?" This immediately kills the momentum. A master conversationalist will bypass the surface details and hook into the emotional core, asking, "Is your dog okay?" Or, "What makes the conference so boring?" By focusing on the emotional subtext rather than the literal logistics, you signal that you are listening to who they are, not just what they are saying. This empowers the other person to feel valued and understood, which is the rarest currency in modern social interaction. This psychological shift from trying to be interesting to being genuinely interested instantly relieves the pressure on you to perform, turning a stressful interrogation into a flowing, effortless dance. The ultimate culmination of these techniques is a highly counterintuitive conversational hack known as the golden pause. Most people are terrified of silence, treating even a 1-second lull in conversation as a catastrophic failure that must be immediately filled with verbal garbage. This frantic rush to speak signals extreme anxiety and low status. When you ask a question, or when the other person finishes speaking, deliberately wait 2 to 3 full seconds before you respond. This brief pause acts as a powerful psychological disruptor. It communicates to the other person that you are comfortable with silence, that you're not desperate for their approval, and that you're actually processing what they said, rather than just waiting for your turn to speak. Paradoxically, this silence often compels the other person to fill the void themselves, often revealing deeper, more personal information that they would have otherwise kept hidden. By combining the golden pause with open body language, foot tracking, and conversational threading, you create a conversational presence that feels incredibly magnetic and entirely effortless. The beautiful irony of this entire process is that the less you try to impress people with your words, the more impressed they become by your presence. You do not need to be a smooth-talking extrovert to dominate your social world. You simply need to pay attention to the physical and emotional data that everyone is constantly broadcasting. Take these insights, step out into your daily life, and observe the immediate shift in how the world responds to you. You are no longer a passive victim of awkward social interactions. You are the active director of them, fully equipped to navigate any room with absolute authority and quiet, undeniable confidence.